Tales from the Odyssey, Chapter 2. Circe's Warnings. Odysseus, can you bear to hear what I have to say? Circe asked him. Are you prepared to know the horrors that await you on your journey? Odysseus nodded. What could be more horrible than the Cyclops or the cannibal giants or even the spell Circe herself had once cast on his men, turning them into swine? Circe began. Soon after you leave my island, you will come upon the island of the Sirens. The Sirens are beautiful women. From a field of flowers they seem to all sailors who pass their shores. Odysseus almost laughed. What threat could these women possibly be to me and my men, he asked. Any sailor who hears the song of the Sirens will forget his homeland, his wife and his children, said Circe. The Sirens' lovely singing will lure him into a watery death. Odysseus smiled and shook his head. He could not believe a simple song could have such power. Heed my warning, Odysseus, said Circe. The Sirens' shores are littered with the bones of sailors driven mad by their song. You must make your crew plug their ears with beeswax so none will be able to hear, else you will all perish. I will order them to do so, Odysseus agreed, but I myself will listen. I do not believe my will to return home can be broken by a song. Then you alone may hear the sirens, said Circe. But first your men must tie your hands and your feet to the mast of the ship, or you will surely hurl yourself into the sea. Tell your men that even if you plead with them to loosen your bonds, they must not. Will you swear to do that? Odysseus nodded. Once you have sailed past the Sirens, you will see two sea paths, said Circe. One path will lead you between the wandering rocks. The wandering rocks are gigantic boulders that pound against another with terrific fury. No living thing, not even a dove on her way to Zeus, can pass between them without being crushed. The waves that foam about the wandering rocks are filled with the wreckage of ships and the bodies of sailors. Only Jason and his Argonauts have survived them, but that was because the goddess Hera loved Jason and protected him. I fear we cannot depend upon protection from the gods, said Odysseus. Tell me, Circe, what is the other path? The other path leads between two sea cliffs, said Circe. One cliff is quite low. There, under a great fig tree, dwells the deadly whirlpool monster, Charybdis. Any ship that sails near Charybdis is sucked to the black bottom of the sea. Even Poseidon himself cannot save mortal sailors from the monster's whirlpool. And what of the other cliff? Asked Odysseus. What danger lies on its shore? High on the side of the second cliff is a dark cave, said Circe. In the cave dwells the monster Scylla. She yelps like a small hound, but in truth, she is a terrible beast. Even the gods and goddesses cannot look upon her without being sickened. Why is she so terrible? Asked Odysseus. Scylla is a monster with 6 huge, hideous heads, said Circe. Her 6 mouths are filled with razor-sharp teeth. In an instant, the monster can devour 6 men. All day, Scylla sits inside her cave, gazing greedily over the sea with her 12 eyes. Whenever a ship sails by, she strikes with all her heads and snatches 6 sailors from the deck. In no time, she rips her poor victims to pieces. Odysseus stared at the enchantress. Then the choice you give me is impossible, he said. Either we are drowned by the whirlpool monster, or we die in the jaws of the 6-headed beast. The choice is this, Circe said. If you sail close to the monster whirlpool, you all die. But if you sail close to Scylla, only 6 will be lost. Odysseus closed his eyes. He had already seen dozens of his men die hideous deaths. Some had been eaten by the monstrous Cyclops. Others had been speared alive by cannibal giants. How could he bear to see more slaughtered? I counsel you to take the course that leads past the monster Scylla, said Circe. Do not try to fight her. You will lose 6 men. But if you sail swiftly enough past the monster, you will lose only 6. The rest will have a chance to escape." Odysseus was silent for a moment. He could hardly bear to follow Circe's counsel. "How can I knowingly sacrifice my men to such a hideous death?" he asked. "How can I choose which 6 will die?" "It is not in your power to choose who shall die," said Circe. "The monster will make the choice for you. Perhaps she will even choose you." Odysseus shook his head. "No, I will kill her before she touches any of us," he said. "Do not be so proud, Odysseus," Circe said. "You are only a mortal. No mortal, not even you, can defeat Scylla. While you waste time attacking her with your sword, she will devour another 6 men. You must row your ship at full speed and shout a prayer to Scylla's mother asking for help. Only she can stop her savage daughter from devouring more men." But before Odysseus could protest further, Circe went on. "If you escape from the monster, it will be time to heed the warnings of Tiresias," Circe said, "for soon you will come to the island of Helios, the sun god. There you will see 7 herds of cattle and 7 flocks of sheep. There are 50 beasts in each herd. They are tended to by 2 friar nymphs, daughters of Helios. The sheep and cattle never give birth, and they never die. But if any of your men so much as touches them, all your crew will perish. You yourself might escape, but you will have a sad and terrible time when you return home to your island. Your wife and son will suffer also." Odysseus stood up. The thought that his family might be in danger kindled his desire to start for home at once. "Thank you for your help," he said to Circe. "I promise to heed your warnings." "Good," she said. "I have told you all that you need to know. Your path will be dangerous indeed, but if you do as I say, you will find your way home. Go now, for the dawn is almost upon us." Odysseus looked around at the forest. A misty golden pink light filtered through the trees. A breeze made the leaves quiver and dance. Birds began to sing. When Odysseus turned back to the enchantress, she was gone. "Circe!" he called. She did not answer. She had slipped away into the dawn's rosy light. All right, and we will stop there for today.